mechanism, a special mechanism is used, that is token passing. Okay, so here the token passing is used. Okay, so in token passing, one token will circulate in this ring mechanism. Okay, so the station which is having that token, it has the accessibility to send data. Okay, so the token will pass from one station to one station. Okay, for example, the station 4 having the token so that it can send the data. If it is not having the data to send, simply it has to transfer that token to its successor. Means from station 4 the token will goes to token 1. Now once it is having the token, then it is ready to send, so that if it is having the data, it has to send its data until it have that token. So once its transmission is over, it has to release that token. Once it is released the token, it will goes to its successor. See, in this directions only the token will circulate. Okay, like that the token will circulate in loop manner. So whatever the which station is having that token, it is having the eligibility to communicate. Okay, for example, this token is here. For example, station 3 has something to send, but it has to wait until it receive the token from its predecessor, that is 2. Unless and until it receive token from station 2, it has to wait. Okay, so that is a token passing mechanism. Okay, so this is about token passing. So this text describes the same mechanism. Okay, next, that is, so this is about the uh, controlled axis. Means we are controlling the accessing mechanism. Okay, in control based, so we are accessing. See here, once the token is available, then only the station is allowed to send, so that here also we can avoid the collision. Okay, so that is the token passing. Next, coming to the third category, that is channelization. Channelization is a multiple access method in which the available bandwidth of a link is shared in time, frequency, or through the code. Okay, so the channel will be available. It will be used by the stations which are available in that communication. So based on the time, frequency, and by using the codes. Okay, so how they are, we will see one by one. So first mechanism is frequency division multiple axis. We call it as a FDMA. Okay, so FDMA means here the channel which is available, for example, 100 to 100 to, for example, 300 megahertz channel is available. Okay, so that frequency, that channel is divided into slots. See this. So at station 1, so here it is the frequency. This is the available channel for the communication. Okay, to provide the communication in this mechanism, this is the available channel. Okay, so this is divided into slots. Frequency division, frequency will be divided. Okay, see, blue, yellow, light green, and purple. Okay, so not purple, so like this frequency will be divided. Okay, so the divided, each slice of frequency is allocated for a particular station. Okay, that frequency is dedicatedly available for each station. Means at a time multiple stations can have their communication. Okay, so in this slot, this station 1 can send its data. In this slot, yellow slot, the station 2 can have its communication. In green, station 3 will have communication. In next color, station 4 will have its communication. So they can utilize that available slot only. By using that slot of frequency channel, in that channel only they have to send. So for this frequency division multiple access, the best example is FM. Now we are having FM radios, 98.3, 90, some radio, Radio City, Radio Mirchi, Big FM, like that. There are different type of radio stations are there, right? So they are having some frequency band, 93.2 or 93.5, 93.5, some Big FM. They are having some frequency bands. So in that bandwidth is dedicated for that channel only. If they have the data to send, by using that channel, they can send. If they don't have data, the frequency is that channel is simply idle. Okay, here drawback is, if in a station had nothing to send, that we are wasting that channel. Okay, means this slot, for example, station 1 have nothing to send, this bandwidth is we are wasting. it is dedicated for this station only. So if it has anything to send, it can immediately it can send. But if it is not having data to send, this channel is idle until it have the data to send. So that is the one drawback, means we are wasting the channel. Here to separate these channels, we use some guard band, means so between this one slot to another slot, we leave some bandwidth, okay, so that it will create a gap between that frequency to this frequency, means if there is no the guard bands, so the frequencies will collide, so I mean crosstalk will come. So to avoid this one we leave some small space that is called as guard bands, okay, they will separate the different frequencies. This is called as frequency division multiple axis. Is it clear? So next one, time division multiple axis. So time division multiple axis means the available entire frequency is divided into time slots. Okay. For example, in our college we have only one seminar hall. Okay. That seminar hall is for third year students. There is a seminars will be conducted. Okay. So there are 5 sections, right? So for each section we have to conduct. For example, all sections come together at a time. So they want to conduct their seminars. It is not possible. So we have to allocate the time from this day, from this time to this time, this section will be allowed. And from this time to this time, this section will be allowed. If we divide it into based on the time slots. So in that dedicated means in that specified time slot that class will come and they will have the seminars, so that we can avoid the collision. Okay, so like that the time will be the frequency will be divided into slots. Okay, so each slot is allocated for that particular station. In that time slot only the particular station is allowed to use that channel and have its communication. Okay, for example, this blue color slot, so from this is the starting point and this is the end point of this station. Okay. So in this starting and end of the time slot, the station one is allowed to access this channel. Here, this is the entire channel. It is not divided. This channel is complete channel is available for each station for a particular time slot. Okay. So we have, for example, we have only one seminar hall that. So once it is allocated for one section, maybe, for example, in that section, 10 members may be available. But even though there are 10 members, the entire seminar hall will be allocated for them only. Like that, the entire channel will be allocated for each station for particular time. In the time, it has to utilize it. Once the time is over, it has to leave that say seminar hall, and next another class will has to assemble in that seminar hall and they have to have their seminars. Like that, it is also the frequency will be available for that particular time, so that the station is allowed to access that channel. Okay, so next once the time is over, the next station is allowed to use that channel. Here is the one drawback, that is if synchronization problem, means the specific start at the start and at the end of the time slots they have to synchronize. So means due to some propagation delay, the synchronization may be delayed. That is the somewhat difficult. Okay, that is the a little bit drawback of this time division multiple axis. Okay, so next one is the code division multiple axis. So till now we have divided the available channel into frequency bands, frequency slots, or time slots. Now in code division multiple axis, in this code division multiple axis, instead of using that time division or frequency division, here we use coding. Okay, so by using the code mechanism, each station is allowed to send their data. Okay, so how this code division multiple axis will happen? Okay, so for example, in your class, for example, there are two people, they can come, they can communicate in one language. Okay, say for example in English they can communicate. So in their class, they are the only two people, they know the English language. So if they communicate in English, even it is audible to any other, but no one can understand. Okay, in the same way, some other two people are also there, they can communicate, they know the Chinese language. Okay, even they speak in Chinese language, they two members only understand, but other people cannot understand. Okay, so like that. So the like that. So we provide the code division multiple access means for each station one code will be given. In that code they can communicate so that the other stations cannot hear, uh, cannot understand that their communication. In the same way the code division multiple access will be implemented. See this in this diagram. This is the station one. It is having the data as D1. Okay, so this station one will communicate by using the code C1. Okay, similarly station 2 is having data D2. It is having the code as C2. Okay, next for station 3 it is having the code C3. Station 4 having the code as C4. So by using this C code they will uh, they will mix their data, and by using that code they can send the data. See, this is the available channel. By using their coding, so they will uh, encrypt their data and it will be transmitted through this channel. So this encrypted data will be received by the all stations, but the authorized one only can decrypt the data. Okay, so if so here C1 is first station 1 is sending its data with by using its code D1 into D1 dot C1. Similarly station 2 is sending D2 dot C2. C3 is station 3 sending D3 dot C3. Station 4 is sending D4 dot C4. So these are together, so summed, and they will be sent through the available channel. At the destination side, each station will receive the sum of these all channels, but by using the one code, that their respective code, they can decrypt their respective code only. For example, all are received a mix of English, Telugu, and Malayalam, like some different languages. So everyone received this one, but from that languages, so the known person only know that information. In English, what they informed; in Tamil, what they said. Like that, they can come to know that. Like that, this code division multiplexes will be implemented. Here to implement this one, we are using code, right? So these codes are not like any simple codes; they are specific codes. Okay, so the codes will be chosen based on the two mechanisms. One is if we multiply each code by another, we have to get product as 0. Okay, so if you multiply two different codes, they should give the uh, product as 0. Okay, if we multiply each code by itself, it should give, actually it is 1, but here we are having 4 stations, so that here I mentioned 4. Okay, so if there are 4 station means, so the product of itself is gives the 4. If the stations are 1, its product will itself gives the 1. So these two are called as ortho autocorrelation and orthogonality. Okay, so by using these two principles, autocorrelation and orthogonality, the codes will be chosen. By using this code, each station will encrypt its data, and that encrypted data of all stations will be summed and they will be sent through the available channel. Okay, so the sum of entire all communications will be traveled through the available channel. At the each station will receive at the destination side. By using that code, they will decrypt their data. Okay, so that is the uh, CDMA, code division multiple access. Okay, so how it happens, if you go for data communication or in mobile computing, you can learn this CDMA. Here also we can go, but it is out of not required. Okay, that's why I am not explaining how the coding is performed and how it will be decrypted. Okay, everything I am not explaining because it is not necessary here. Okay, even this channelization also, it is extra topic. Okay, so this is about the code division multiple access. Is it clear, ma? Till now, randomized accessing, controlled access, and channelized access. These are the three type of accessing of channel, available channel. Okay, is it clear? I need response. Is it clear? At least anyone respond, ma.
Yes, sir.
If you have any doubts, you can ask. No, don't. You are free to ask. Okay, thank you. Okay, so next we go to next one is the next topic, that is wireless LAN protocols. Wireless LAN. Still now we have discussed about connection oriented. Now we go for wireless LANs. In wireless LANs, how this data link layer will be established. Okay. So in this in wireless LAN, what is a part of medium access control? Okay. So in wireless LANs, okay. So we know what is LAN, what is MAN, what is WAN also. Okay. So coming to the wireless LAN, so to have the communication means in wireless LAN, the station which are connected, they use by default they use carrier sense multiple access. Means before they send their data, they have to sense the medium, and if it is ideal, then only they can have their communication. Okay. So for that, the common mechanism, that is CSMA, will be used. Okay. But comparing with the wired communication, in wireless communication, we have some a different kind of problems we have to face. So what are they? We will see in this wireless LAN protocol. Okay. So let us see. For example, if we see these two diagrams, see here in wireless mode, in wireless mechanism, these are the stations which are connected in the given LAN. Okay. So here station A is sending data to station B. Okay. So here radio range means the frequency will be audible to its range. Okay. So if A speaks, it is audible to B. If B speaks, it is audible to C and as well as to A also. If C speaks, it is audible to B and it is also audible to D. Okay, so that is called as, we call it as, in network terminology, we call it the radio range. Is it clear? So it means, so if it is talking means it's audio is, for example, in your class, if any lecture is, any faculty is delivering the class, so it is audible in your entire all corners of your classroom. Okay, so that we call it as a radio range. Okay, in this class, if anyone will talk, it will audible, the audio will, the voice will be audible in that surroundings of your classroom. Outside the classroom, maybe it is not audible. Okay, so that is called as out of radio range. So outside the classroom, the audio is not audible, so that is called out of range, out of radio range. Within the class, the if audio is audible, then it is called as the radio range. Okay, like that. So assume this scenario. See, in wireless LAN connection, wireless LANs, what happens? For example, so here it is A is audible, A audio range is radio range is reachable to B. Okay, B's radio range is reachable to A and C, and C range is B and D, and D range is only up to C. Okay, because these are the only 4 channels which are available in wireless mode. See, for example, the radio station, it wants to send something to its station B. Okay, so it is accessing the medium, by using CSMA, the channel is ideal, so it is sending the data. Okay, so in its range, its communication is audible, like audible. Okay, means up to B, its range is communication range is visible. Okay, so after some time, when A is sending and B also receiving, but after some time C wants to send something. So in this situation, now it so to send something to B, it sends to the medium, but its A range is not reachable to C because its radio range is up to B only. So after B, its range is not possible. Means outside the class, the audio is not audible. So what happens when C sends the medium? It think that the channel is ideal, so it will start sending data to B. But B is already listening to A, so A is sending, B is taking the data frames. Okay, but when after some time C wants to send something, so it sends to the medium because in wireless mode. So it assumes because its frequency range is not reachable to C, so that it assumes there is no, the channel is ideal, so that it can send it will start sending the frames to B, so that here collision will occur, that the frames will be discarded. Why it happened? Because even that collision occurred and the frames will be discarded, but these stations don't know whether the sending frames are successfully accepted or discarded. Either is station A don't know and C also don't know. This problem is called as hidden station problem because A is hidden to C, C is hidden to A. Due to this hidden station problem, so the collision will occur and the frames will be discarded. Okay, so this is the one problem in wireless LAN protocols. Another one is, see this in next diagram. So now B is sending. Okay, so B wants to send something to A. Now in this second scenario, B sends to the medium, and it is identified that the channel is ideal, so it is sending the data frames to A. B is sending, A is listening. Okay, so after some time, so B's radio range is, it is reachable to A and it also reachable to C. So after it, B is sending some frames to A. After some time, C also wants to send something to some other station. Means, say, so for example, it wants to send something to D. So when it try to, so if it has a data to send, then it will try to access the medium. Means it will sense the medium, but it is in the frequency range of B. So when it try to access the sense the medium, it assumes that the channel is busy. So that simply it will wait. Okay, actually it is not willing to send to B. B is busy with A. It wants to send something to D, but when it try to access the medium, it is under the coverage of B, so it assumes the channel is busy. That's why it is called as exposed station problem, because C is exposed by the B radio range. That's why it is unable to communicate. It can, but when it sends the medium, it assumes the channel is busy, so that it is not sending data. Actually, the channel is ideal between C and D, but because it is exposed by the B frequency, so that it cannot access, it assumes it is the channel is busy, so that it is not accessing. This is called as exposed station problem. Okay, so we have in wireless LAN, we have to avoid this hidden station problem and exposed station problem. For that, we use multiple axis with collision avoidance. So this is the one mechanism. By using this mechanism, we can avoid this drawback. Okay, so to avoid this one, see that protocol will be modified. Okay, so what happens when when A wants to send frame to B in some first uh, in previous scenarios, A wants to send something to B, so that before it send it, A has to send a request command, that is RTS, request to send. Okay, this will be sent to the this frame is sent to the B. Okay, in this frame it will mention when it is going to start, how much time it is going, the communication will be, every information will be mentioned. Okay, this short frame contain the length of the data frame that will evenly follow. Means when it is going to start this that communication and how much time it will communicate, everything will be mentioned in this RTS, request to send. Means I want to communicate with you from this time to this time, this much of amount of data I want to send, like that the information is mentioned this request. Okay, so then when once the B receives that one, and it has to give the reply. Okay, if it is willing to receive, then it will send the reply as CTS, clear to send. Okay, now it is clear, you can send me. In that also it will mention, so now it is clear, so you can send me from this time to this time and this much of data. So this is, it is also copied from the request to send. So in this request, it is mentioned from this time to this time, this much of data frames I want to send. Okay, so station B replies as, okay, I am ready to receive from this time to this time, and this much amount of frames I am ready to receive. Like that, it will give the replay. Okay, then once it station A receives that acknowledgement, means CTS, then it can start transmission. Okay, now we have to assume. Okay, so in this mechanism, we can avoid this hidden station and exposed station problem. See, in this scenario, for example, this, consider this here, this is the station A and this is the station B. Okay, so in station A, it is it is station B is in under A radio range. Okay, C also under A, C A radio range, but C is not in the radio range of B. Okay, so B and C are out of range, but D is within the range of B. Okay, E is within the range of either A and B. Just see, A range is A frequency will be audible to B, E, and C. B audio is range frequency is audible to A, E, and D. Okay. Next for D, only B is the audible. Okay. So this is the range. Assume here. So when A wants to send, when in this scenario, A wants to send. So first requesting the RTS. Okay. So it is in the range of E and C also. So that what happens? C also listen the RTS request to send, means it is requesting the B. So I want to communicate with you. So it will listen that one. So until it will get the acknowledgement from A, B, so it assumes, okay, A is requested, so that from this time to that time, the station A is busy with some other, that station, its destination station. Like that, C will assumes. Okay. So once B send that clear to send, it is it is visible to E, but it is not visible to C, because it is B and C both are out of range. So C know that RTS only, but he don't know about the CTS of B. But E know the CTS and D also know the CTS. Here D also don't know the RTS, but D know only CTS. Just as see this diagram. So A will send and B will receive. For example, in that communication time, C wants to send, but it heard that the RTS request to send to the B, so that maybe it is don't know the CTS. So simply it know that, okay, from that from some time to some time it is busy with some other station, so that it assumes, okay, if station A is busy with some other station, so that it simply keep idle. Okay. So next in scenario, in next session, for coming to the D also. So if it is it heard that clear to send, so that it also know that the station B is busy with some A station, so that if it has a data to send, it will wait until its communication is finished. Means in CTS it is mentioned the time, right? So until the expire of that time, the station D has to wait, then only it can try to access the medium. C also wait for until the time of RTS. In RTS it is mentioned the time, so that until that time it will wait and it will sense the medium and it will have the communication with A. Okay, so like that we can avoid the this hidden station and exposed station problems. Okay, here is the exposed station problem. So here exposed station is here B wants to say okay. So here exposed station is, here it is exposed by the B and A. So simply here it will wait for it keeps idle. Okay, so here but it is exposed, but it know that in this information CTS and RTS, it know that who is the source and who is the destination. So if it wants to communicate with the D, then it can access the medium, because here between A and B the channel is busy, so that it can access the channel between E and D, and it can have the communication. Means here we avoid hidden station and as well as the exposed station problem. Okay, is it clear, ma? So it is somewhat it gives some confusion, but is it clear? Let me know. I need response, ma. If you have any doubt, just ask me. I will clarify. Third year B and C sections. Why you people are not responding? G3, okay. What about others, ma? Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you, ma. Shall I continue? Okay. So this is the problems of wireless communication, wireless LAN. Okay, hidden station problem and exposed station problem. So they can be avoided by RTS and CTS commands. Okay, so next coming to the next topic, that is the Ethernet. Okay, so Ethernet is nothing but refers to a cable to which the stations will be connected. Okay, So Ethernet means simply it is a physical cable to which the station will be connected. Generally, in Ethernet, this is available. Ethernet is nothing but a cable. So it is available in commonly 4 types. In 4 types, this Ethernet is available. Okay. So first type is 10 base 5. Next one is a 10 base 2, and another one is a 10 base T, 10 base F. Okay. T indicates twisted pair, F indicates fiber optic. Okay. So here this type of cables will be in this we use the cables as in 10 base 5 we use thick coaxial cable, and in 10 base 2 we use thin coaxial cable. Okay. So and that maximum segment means maximum range means at every this range we have to again we have to use just like a repeater. Okay. So here it is 500 meters. Okay. For every 500 meters we have to clamp. Okay. Nodes are segments. So here the max in this 10 base 5, the maximum number of nodes we can arrange is 100. Okay. Next, coming to the 10 base 2, it is a thick coaxial cable. Sorry, thin coaxial cable. It will range from up to 185 meters. Okay. So without any repeaters, it will work up to 180 meters. This 10 base 5, it will work up to 500 meters. Okay. So in thin coaxial cable, so maximum number of nodes we can connect are 30 only. In thick, they are 100. In thin, they are only 30. Okay. Next, coming to the 10 base T, it is a twisted pair. So its range also 10 meters, but we can connect up to 1024. Okay. Fiber optic, it comes to up to 2000 meters, means up to 2 kilometers. Up to 2 kilometers, there is no need of repeater. Okay. So these are the cables. So what are they? What we will see this. We will see one by one. Okay. So first type is 10 base 5. 10 base 5 cable popularly called as thick Ethernet. Okay. So this is the first cable which is used by the Ethernet. Okay. Then so what is this 10 base 5? Okay. The notation 10 base 5 means that it operates. So first prefix number indicates the transmission speed. Okay. So in Mbps, megabits per station. Sorry, megabits per second. So here in 10 base 5, so first 10 indicates 10 Mbps speed. Okay. It uses baseband signaling and can support up to, it will support up to 500 meters range. Okay. Next, next one is the base. Okay. See, means here we are using the baseband signaling. Okay. So band pass filters will be used. That is a communication mechanism. Okay. So here the medium which we are using is the coaxial cable, and okay. So it ranges from 10 meters. Okay. After every 10 meters, we have to repeat. Sorry, up to 100 meters, we have to the repeater. Okay. So the medium is coaxial. The length is given in the units of 500. Okay. See here, this base, after base, we are having the number, right? So it is multiples of 100. If it is a 10 base 5 means it is multiples of 100 meters, means 5 means 5 into 100, so 500 meters, up to 500 meters. Okay. So next that is the 10 base 5. Next one is it is called a thick coaxial. Okay. Next one is the second type is the 10 base 2. 10 base 2 means it is a thin coaxial cable. Same, first 10 indicates 10 Mbps, 10 Mbps speed. Okay. Here it will use baseband signal, and 2 indicates it is a multiple of 2, means it is approximately 200, 2 into 100, 200 meters, but practically it is 185 meters. Okay. And it can connect only 30 numbers nodes, 30 nodes only it can connect, because it is a thin, so its communication range is small and number of devices also less. Okay. So these are the first two. Here in these two uh, Ethernet cables, there is a one problem, that is detecting cable breaks. So in that cable, if there is any cable breakage or losing of signal, okay, so loose connected connectors, if there are, so the some problems will come. So identification of those problems. So if there is any connection is loose, or if there is any breakage in the cable, So it is difficult to identify. So to overcome this problem, they invented another one that is nothing but the next one, that is the hub mechanism. Okay. The problem associated with finding cable breakage drove system towards a different kind of wiring pattern, that is nothing but a hub pattern. Okay, in which all stations have a cable running to the central hub. Okay, in which they all are connected electrically. So here there is a hub. Okay, so to hub every station will be connected simply. Okay, so if there is, see, these are the first type, 10 base 5, this is the 10 base 2. See here clamping. So here to connect this to this cable, twisted pair coaxial cable. So see this cable, so it is pinned into the core. Until it touch the core, it will be pinned. Okay, so due to some movement left right like that, so the leak, the connection will be leak, so that it will lose the data. So these are the problems. In 10 base 5, it is connected by using the T joint. Okay, by using the T joint, they will be connected to the core of the that coaxial cable. So there may be a dropping and disconnectivity and cable breakage. These are the problems. So to avoid these problems, they implemented another mechanism, that is hub mechanism. In this, each station will be connected to this hub by using the dedicated wiring. Okay, so in this manner, the next two cables will comes, that is 10 base T and 10 base F. Okay, in hub manner, the next two type of cables will be implemented, that is 10 base T, 10 base T and 10 base F. 10 base T is nothing but twisted pair, and 10 base F is the fiber optic. Okay, 10 base T. See, hubs do not here to this hub. The every station will be connected, right? So here, this hub, it is not going to buffer any frames. Okay, so with the 10 base T, there is no shared cable. See here, we are here. This is the one common cable. To this common cable, we are connecting the stations. Okay, one common cable is there to this. For example, 5 stations are there. To this, say, one cable, the 5 stations will be connected. Okay, if there is any breakage in this cable, so they don't have the data communication will lose. Means they may lose the frames. That is the drawback. Here it is overcome by, so here each station is connected to this hub. Okay, there is no common cable, but this hub is not a buffering. It is not going to buffer the frames also. Okay, from this hub, the connection will go to the external. Okay, so that's why we can avoid this leak connectivity, loose connectivity, and breakage. Everything we can avoid. Okay, so in 10 base T, it is a twist. So here to connect this device station to the hub, we use the cable as transmission cable as twisted pair. Okay, so with 10 base T, there is no shared cable at all, just the hub to which each station is connected by a dedicated cable. So each station is connected to the hub by the dedicated cable. Okay, so here adding or removing a station is simple. Okay, simply this cable will be simply connected to this hub. We can remove any easily. Breakage can be detected easily. So if any cable is breakage, so that if this cable is break, so this station cannot hear properly. So that we come to know that there is a breakage in this particular cable. So that simply we can replace it. So that is the advantage of twisted pair. Okay. Next one is the on the fourth type, that is a 10 base F. Means see the cable transmission speed is same for all 4 type of cables, 10 Mbps. Okay. See here, but here it is the F. F is the fiber optic. But here the fiber optic, it is connectivity joining is difficult task, but and it is also costly, but it's coming to the but it is excellent in noise immunity. Means it can avoid the noise excellently, and it will give the a good communication. Maybe it is costly, and it is very difficult to connecting the fiber optic with the station is, it is a difficult task, but it will give the good advantage. With this cable we have the good advantages. Means it is excellent with the nice immunity. Okay, and it will run for up to kilometers range. Coming to the first three, so they will within meters only, but it is up to kilometers. There is no need of repeaters. So, and also This fiber optic also provide a good security. So it will provide the security also. That's why it is better to use fiber optic, but it is costly. Okay. So if we and the user never bother about expenditure, then it is better they go for 10 base F. Okay. So this is the cabling mechanism of Ethernet. In next, we have to see the encoding mechanism. Okay. So already we are running out of time. So in next class we can continue with the encoding mechanism, and next we go for the protocols, mm, Ethernet max sublayer protocols. Okay, next type of Ethernet. Okay, with this we can conclude this second unit. Okay, so maximum by tomorrow we will conclude the second unit. Okay. uh, till now, if you have any doubts, you can ask. Okay, let me know, ma. With so we have 2 more minutes. So let me know any you have any doubts. You can ask. Feel free. So you can ask any doubts. See, due to vast syllabus, I am just going on, but definitely I will give the complete notes. Okay. So once it is over, maybe mostly by tomorrow, I will send this PDF also. It's PDF also. Just because if I dictate everything, it will take too much time, because there are so many topics to be discussed. That's why I'm running. Okay, but definitely I will give the notes. Okay, don't bother about the notes, but just listen the concepts. Okay, if you want to take some notes, you can take runningly, or you can take as a screenshots. No need to take a screenshot, but I will give that in the form of notes also. But follow me. Okay, if you have any doubts anytime, you can stop me and you can ask. Even if you have doubts now also, you can ask, because there are so many topics to be discussed.